Another useful term is the GDP deflator. This allows us to look at nominal GDP and use the deflator to get at real GDP. And we construct the GDP deflator using this equation here. The GDP deflator is equal to nominal GDP divided by real GDP times 100. So that's our equation. So if I were interested in looking for the GDP deflator in the year 2006, what I'm going to be looking for is nominal GDP in 2006 divided by real GDP in 2006 times 100. So I have those calculations from the previous video, and I have nominal GDP in 2006, this was this calculation, and I got 16,350. And then if the base year were 2006, I also calculated real GDP in 2006, and that gave me this value. So my nominal GDP was 16,350, my real GDP was 16,350, and I multiply that by 100. This reduces to 1, so 1 times 100, and of course that's 100. So my GDP deflator in 2006 is 100. And also note that the base year is 2006, so anytime we're looking at an index or a deflator, when we find the base year, we find that we usually set that index equal to 100, and that turns out to be exactly what we got when we did the calculation. So in this, the GDP deflator in the base year, which is 2006 in this case, is 100. And that also means that real GDP and nominal GDP are the same. Suppose I were looking for the GDP deflator in the year 2007. I can use this same equation. The GDP deflator in 2007 is equal to nominal GDP in 2007 divided by real GDP in 2007 times 100. Well, nominal GDP in 2007 we calculated as being 19,783.50 cents. Real GDP in 2007 we got 17,985. So that's going here. Multiplied by 100 is going to give us our GDP deflator. Well, this divided by this gives me 1.1, and then I multiply that times 100 to get my GDP deflator in 2007 is equal to 110. So how can we use the GDP deflator? Well, we can use it to get at real GDP. So if we're given the GDP deflator, I can use this equation, nominal GDP divided by the GDP deflator times 100 is going to give me real GDP. So let's do that for 2007. I want to know real GDP in 2007, and suppose I'm only given nominal GDP in 2007, and I'm also given the GDP deflator in 2007. Well, I can use this equation, multiply that by 100, and I'm going to get my real GDP. So I go back and I find nominal GDP in 2007 was 19,783.50 cents. My GDP deflator is given, we did that in the step previously, is 110, so I'm going to divide by 110, and I'm going to multiply that by 100. When I do that calculation, what I get back is real GDP in 2007 as 17,985. And this should correspond with real GDP in 2007. So I come down here and I see the way we calculated it using base year prices, that is exactly what we get, 17,985. So the results check.